This is Paul McKenna for PT Boxing. I'm here today with promoter Eddie Hearn. How are you, Eddie? Okay?
Very good, mate. Very good.
We're here today for the press conference in Manchester, July 18th, high stakes. You know, we've just seen Darlys Perez and Kiko Martinez up on a top table with Scott Quigg and obviously Anthony Crolla. You know, by the turnout today as well, it just feels, and you can just feel that it's going to be a huge night.
That's when you know. You know, you look down. I've done press conferences before, and there's been like 3-4 people turn up.
Yeah.
And you think, oh, God. It's just, you know, and then you turn up today, 6 or 7 national, you know, TV outlets, dozen photographers, and then you do the head-to-heads, and it's just pam with flashes.
Yeah.
And that's when you think this is big.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, this has the feel of a May the 30th card, very similar to that. You know, a couple of world title fights, a couple of really good 50-50 British title fights as well. So I'm excited, and you know, it's a great way to continue the momentum.
Most definitely. Just a few things to clear up. Obviously, yesterday, Froch announced his retirement. You know, Twitter and social media's been going berserk. I spoke to Johnny Nelson before. He believes it was the right move to make. How about yourself? You know, obviously now the decision's made.
I think the fact that he's taken so long, you know, really makes me realise that he's made the right decision.
Yeah.
He's really thought about it. You know, and he was close to fighting again, and then he wasn't, and then he was, and you know. But I think at 38, having been out for over a year, I think it's the right decision. Now, a lot of people said to me, "Do you think that's definitely it?" I couldn't tell you definitely, but I believe so.
Yeah, I think Johnny made a valid point before. He said that, you know, some fighters, you know, can think they can carry on and then they're not really remembered for their heights in boxing.
And would be the sad thing.
Yeah.
If he went out half-hearted, got stopped in a fight, and then he'd have to spend his whole career. Like, he doesn't need the money.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to prove anything.
Exactly.
So what are you doing it for? Well, you're doing it because you love the competition.
Yeah.
But if that doesn't bother him, there's no reason. Unless all of a sudden he thinks, you know what, I want to beat that Golovkin.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm going to do it.
And gets the fire.
Then that's it, gets the fire going. But there's no reason to ignite that fire at the moment. You know?
Yeah, I think I heard you talking on TalkSport, and that you'd spoke to Carl, and he was going to do a couple of rounds on the bag, and then he just you know, swerved it. So maybe that was an earlier sign of what was to come. Another thing, what people may not know, I already know myself, but if you can just clear it up and explain to the people the whole James Degale situation with Al Heyman and yourself.
Well, Al Heyman's an advisor, so he's working on the management side. I work on the promotional side. My line of communication will now be with Al and not with Degale and the team, and we'll work together to plot the next move. It looks like, because of he's been inactive since the Durrell fight, he'll fight a mandatory next between the winner of Medina and Jackson. So that's not a huge fight here. So is that a fight that we take to the States? And the answers there will be, I'll sit down with Al Heyman and draw up the best move for James Degale moving forward. But in terms of us being involved, yes. In terms of, you know, Al, yes, he's the advisor, the manager. I'm the promoter. Two separate, different things. You know, Heyman has a huge amount of fighters at the moment, huge amount of power. And you know, again, I said in an interview yesterday, if it's a move that makes sense for our fighters, I've no problem with them working, you know, with us and Al Heyman. I think, you know, he's definitely, you know, making big shapes.
Of course. So, you know, as far as where James Degale will be fighting, whether it be UK or USA,
the next one will be in America.
And
personally,
will that decision come down to you or Al, or a joint? Will it be a joint decision?
Probably where the most money was. That's generally what it comes down to. I feel like James should have a homecoming fight, but for that fight, you know, which is not a pay-per-view fight, there might be more money for that fight taking place in America. So I think James has definitely got America on his mind as well. Otherwise, he wouldn't have signed with Al as well. You know, I'm sure the PBC will be doing stuff in the UK one day soon. But I think at the moment the focus is probably on an American fight. But you know, I'll sit down with them. I think the week commencing 25th of July for a team meet, and then plot the best way forward.
Okay, just another situation to clear up. The whole thing with Carl Yafai and Paul Butler. You know, I think a lot of people were reading off Yafai. Obviously, you won the purse bid for the fight, and then Paul Butler come out.
Trying to make him look bad. I mean, basically, that fight was ordered by the British Boxing Board of Control. Queensbury Promotions, who are Paul Butler's promoters, came on and made us an offer to make the fight, which wasn't big enough. We went back and said, no thank you, we'll go to purse bids. They said, okay, purse bids were there, they bid, we bid, we won.
Okay.
So I then tweeted, and by the way, it's public knowledge. It's not like I broke the news.
Yeah.
We won the first bid, October 17th. Great news, great fight for Britain. Oh, you're trying to make me... No, I didn't know you don't want the fight. Yeah. Your promoters have offered us the fight. They bid for it. Yeah. Surely that's a bit confusing. I mean, if you don't want the fight, why do you make an offer for it and why do you bid for it? So I'm gutted because I really want the fight. That's why I bid a lot of money for it. And I think Yafai is the best super flyweight in Britain. But at least we'll get a chance to see if he is. Yeah. But now we won't. And because it's like, I'm not dropping down at British level. It's not British level. You know, Yafai is world ranked.
Yeah, true.
But Paul Butler's talking about the Jamie Conlon fight. I mean, no disrespect to Jamie Conlon, Yafai's on another level. Yeah. Conlon's just had a brilliant fight, one of the fight-of-the-year contenders. Yeah. But Cal Yafai beats both of them all day. Yeah. And if you don't believe me, take the fight. Well. But he don't want to take the fight, Paul Butler, because he says I don't want to drop down at British level. But Yafai's not British level, he's world level. But it's the same thing with Callum and Rocky. Yeah. You know, people say, oh, well, that's British time. Well, it's not, because Callum Smith's #1 in the WBC.
No, yeah. And Rocky's highly ranked in 3-4.
So let's make the fight. It's a big fight for world boxing.
Yeah. Do you think that there's no way Paul Butler will take the fight now, even the fact that he might make himself look a little bit bad with the whole situation?
He'll say, oh, this and that. I didn't know about it, and maybe he didn't. Yeah. But he's going to be... People are going to think he's ducked the fight. Yeah. I don't think Paul Butler's the type of bloke to duck a fight. I don't think any fighter ducks the fight. Yeah. But the fact is, he don't look good. You know.
Yeah, true. There's been a lot of speculation the last couple of days over social media, like as if the Floyd Mayweather fight's getting closer and closer to being Andre Berto. Yeah. I know he's mentioned it a few times, but I don't think anyone really took it seriously.
I think if they're talking about doing a free-to-air fight, which it sounds like they might, then they will go for someone like Berto. Yeah. But you know, when you talk about pay-per-view, the fact is if you said to a punter, do you want Andre Berto against Floyd Mayweather free, or do you want Floyd Mayweather against Kell Brook or Amir Khan for £16.95 or whatever it is? Yeah. You're going to want to pay for it, aren't you? You don't want to get something free when you've got the money to buy for some quality.
Of course.
So I think it probably will be Berto, and I think they'll announce this week.
Okay, well, last but not least, just a general question now on boxing itself. Who was your favourite fighter and why?
Sugar Ray Leonard. Just loved watching him. All those fights, I grew up watching those kind of fights. Obviously Leonard against Hagler, Hearns, Duran, they all fought each other. Yeah. And that's what I think we're missing a little bit, in the modern day age. And they're all great fighters, all huge personalities, but for me Sugar Ray Leonard was my #1.
Okay then, good to know. Thanks a lot for your time today, Eddie, and we'll definitely catch up with you soon. Thank you.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.